live? I don't know. It's asking. Yeah, I think we're live. Are we live, Chris? Are we up?
I'm waiting for it to pop up.
We've been having some trouble. So if anybody's out there, just let us know that you can see us and hear us and all of those things. That would be really, really great. This is about the 6th time, right, Chris, that we've tried this. It looks like I'm live. It looks like I'm on camera. Chris, can you see me yet? Am I good to go? Da, 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 da.
Not yet.
Oh, here we go. We've got somebody commenting.
Yes, now it's showing.
Do somebody's commenting. Golly, so we've got comments. So I'm just going to presume that we're live. So good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. First, I'd like to say, of course, good morning to Grey Eagle, who is standing right by my side. Oh, yes, we've got lots of people coming on now. And, oh, golly, it's all of a sudden really, really taking off. So, Chris, can you see me on here?
I can.
Great.
You're live.
So we're live. Yay. So we've got Grey Eagle, who is by my right side, and we've also got my friend Chris, who's doing story time. Say good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
And golly, so now I did put out a little thing earlier on this morning. I know one or two of you saw it. My story today is going to be an animal story for all of you out there who are animal lovers, and for all of you who are not necessarily animal lovers, but you might be intrigued to know that, yes, I posed the question this morning, can animals heal us? The answer is a big fat yes. For those of you who have your own animals and love your own animals, you already know the answer to that question anyway. But do they have the ability to give healing? Are there certain animals, just as humans are, who have a particular energy, a particularly strong energy? Yes, and in fact, surprise, surprise, it's going to be no surprise really to you all, but yes, I do have one of these healer dogs, and his name is Cachorro. I also had a healer dog in my Labrador Nino, my little boy, who has since passed. But Cachorro, thank you, is still with me. Yes, yes, yes. So when I first got him, and I got him in very strange circumstances, I'll tell you that another time, but he has been with me for a long time, and it has the ability to, first of all, to sense those people who come around, those people that he meets. He has the ability to sense if someone has an issue or a health issue or a health problem of some kind. He also has this incredible sense of knowing, especially with me, knowing if I'm upset or if I'm worried about something, because he makes certain moves that tells me he really knows, he's really tuned in to me and to what is going on with me, but he's also tuned in to me and helps me with that when I give healing to other people. So here is my story, and we know we always begin our stories once upon a time. So once upon a time, I was invited to go to somewhere, I don't remember quite where, I think it was in New Hampshire somewhere. I was invited to go and, to speak to a group of people. We were going for the weekend because I was going to speak to a group on Friday night, and then I was going to do a workshop on Saturday. Well, naturally, I took Cachorro with me. He was then probably about 2 years old. I took him with me because, wherever I can take my puppies, I always will. We got a phone call prior to my leaving. And in fact, Chris, you were the one, I think, who organized this event, right? So you're very familiar with this story. The lady who organized it called Chris and said to Chris, could Rosemary possibly come a couple of hours earlier, because one of our members is in a lot of trouble. She has a lot of health issues. It was discovered that she had a tumour on her breast, and she's going in hospital tomorrow for surgery to have a breast removed. So we said yes, of course we would go up there and we'd see her early. And this lady wanted to see us, wanted to see me and have some healing prior to going in for her surgery. So off we went. We went early, and I think, was my friend Kay from England with us as well, Chris? Was she there? Somebody else was there anyway.
Marianne.
Oh, right. Okay, so it was Marianne. All right, so I'd forgotten who else was with us. I knew somebody was. So off we went. We drove all the way up there. It was a long way for me to drive, something like 4 hours, I think, Chris. And we all went in the same car, and off we go. We get there early because I want to see this lady way before we have the meeting that evening. So we met her, we met her husband. We arrived at the hotel, and there was a lovely lobby where there was nice big sofas and chairs and so on. So we sat in there. We took Kachoro in with us, and this lady came with her husband. She was extremely nervous. She told us what was going on. They'd found a huge tumour in her breast, and they said that there was nothing else for it than to remove her breast. And she was going into hospital the very next day. So could she have some healing was basically it. So we talked to her a little bit about it. I talked about what we were going to do. Simply a laying on of hands, very simple, very easy. We were going to use our energy. And I had her come and sit on the sofa with me, next to me. And so at some point, I said to her, would you mind very much if Kachora comes up here and helps me with your healing? And she sort of looked a bit surprised, but she said no, that was fine. So I had Kachoro come up on the sofa between us. And as I've said to you, he has a particular sense, a knowing, if you like, as all healer dogs and I suppose cats do. But they have a particular knowing, a particular sense of what is going on with us. So he came and jumped up onto the sofa, and I was just happy for him to lay there, because I knew that his energy would be that part of something that we needed. So I reached over, I'm talking to this lady, I lay my hands on her shoulders. As I always do, I say a prayer of protection prior to any healing that we do. And we began the healing process. As I put my hands on this lady and I said the prayer of protection, my puppy rolled onto his back and stretched out both of his paws, one of which landed somewhere on her lap and the other paw landed right smack on her breast, right over apparently where this tumour was. And he stayed like that for the amount of time it took, about 10 or 15 minutes, for the amount of time it took for us to give her some healing. At some point she was sitting there, she had her eyes closed. Chris was sending healing, my friend Marianne was sending healing. We were all giving our healing, and obviously Ngachoro just sat there with his paw right on this lovely lady's breast, and he stayed there the entire time. And at some point we noticed that there were tears trickling down this lady's face, which is very usual. It's a usual thing to happen, because even though, you know, anybody watching doesn't really, you don't see anything. There are no fireworks, there are no trumpets blazing, there's nothing amazing to see, but you feel the energy and you feel the atmosphere. And the patients that I have, who I give healing to, they're always put into this sort of nice, lovely, deep, let's say a kind of a sleep, but you're conscious at the same time. So we did our healing, and 10 or 15 minutes later, as soon as I took my hands off of the lady's shoulders, Kachoro rolled back over, placed his head on my lap. We were done, And he just knew it without me even saying anything. And I just held this lady's hand and just waited for her to come around. And she said to me, she started crying. She said, that was the most amazing thing. She said, where the puppy put his paw, it was right where they say the tumour is. But she said, I could feel heat going right through me from his paw, and it was going right through me, right into my breast, and then it came all the way through my entire body. So, of course, again, I was not surprised, because, you know, that's what a healer animal will do. They send out their energy, and it can be very, very powerful. That was the end of that. So we gave her a hug. I said to her, let me know how you get on at the hospital. Of course, she was very nervous. Nobody likes the idea of actually going in to have the breast removed. Nobody. But she felt better, a little bit better, because she just felt, you know, okay, this is good. It gave her courage. It gave her a sense of peace, and it gave her a sense of tranquility. Then we hung around for a little bit until it was time for me to go into my meeting that night, and that in itself was amazing. I do remember there was a wonderful lady who was in the throes of fighting cancer, and I think it was, in fact, Chris, wasn't it a cancer group that we went to see, a ladies' cancer group that we went to see?
It was a mixed group.
It was a mixed group, but we had an absolutely wonderful time. Well, I was able to give lots and lots and lots of messages from the spirit world. We also gave healing to some of the people who were in the audience as well. We stayed overnight, and the next morning we did our thing at our other meeting, and then off we went, and we drove home and never thought anything about it. All right, so I think, was that a Sunday, Chris? So I'm not sure. Doesn't matter anyway. Who cares anyway? So that's it. So the next day, I'm thinking about this lovely lady, this patient of mine who's gone in for surgery, and I'm just wondering how she's doing. And the phone rang, and I picked it up, and I have somebody crying, so distressed, so upset. It sounded anyway. Sobbing and sobbing. At first I couldn't hear what she was saying, and it turned out that it was this lovely lady we'd given healing to. So I said to her, you know, I've been thinking about you all day. How are you? I finally got her to calm down and talk to me, and she began crying again. And she said, Rosemary, she said, I went to the hospital. They prepared me. And then for some reason or another, the surgeon said, let's just do another scan of her breast to make sure that we're in the exact right position. We want to get everything out. And they did a scan of her breast. And then they did another scan of her breast. And then they waited for a little bit. And then they did another scan of her breast. And they could not find the tumour. Now, the cancer was certainly not all gone. I think she had treatment for somewhere, and if she's listening to this, somewhere around 18 months or so, something like that. She had her chemotherapy, she did all of that stuff, but she never had to have her breast removed. Somehow or another, my little puppy's paw had just, you know how when you see these wonderful shows, you know, I'm watching at the moment, I'm watching The Worst Witch with Reese. It's a British show, and they click their fingers or they wave their hands, and there's a magic spell, and woof, something disappears. And it was almost as if, of course, you know, perhaps not quite, but almost as if Kachuro had put his paw on that lady's tumour, where the tumour was, and poof, it was gone. The power of healing can be amazing. I can sit here and tell so many stories forever and ever, ages and ages, reams and reams, hours and hours of stories that we have of healing. But I thought that you'd like to hear a good one, because if you yourself have a pet, if you have a little animal or even a big animal, I mean, even horses I've known, I knew someone who owned a horse, and people would go just to stroke the horse and talk to the horse, people who were sick. and who somehow or another were able to receive healing from the horse. Now, doesn't it sound weird? Doesn't it sound far-fetched? But energy is energy, whether it's coming from a human, whether it's coming from a healer like myself, whether it's coming from a healer like Chris, who is also a healer, by the way, whether it's coming from, wherever it's coming from, whether it's coming from our animals, our beloved pets, doesn't matter where it comes from, we'll take it, won't we? We absolutely will take that healing and we'll be blessed by it. Years later, and I've heard from this later, I've heard from this lady, you know, later, and I've heard from her sort of fairly recently, over the last couple of years. She's doing really well. Her cancer is in remission. It's been that way for a long time. I'm not sure you can ever say that we can cure cancer, but remission can last 10, 15, 20, even 30 years. And she's doing really, really well, I'm pleased to say, and all is well. Of course, my puppy is older now. He still gives me healing. But before we end this story, how on earth did I acquire a healer dog? What happened? How do you get one? You know, what are you supposed to look for when you go and look for a pet? Are you supposed to look for anything special or particular? When people are looking for their animals, I always say to them, you know, listen, don't look and see how pretty it is. Listen to what's going on in your heart. Listen to your soul. Listen to the voice of your soul, and allow your soul to call to that animal's soul. And that way you get this. And those of you who have had that and do that, you'll know, even though you perhaps didn't even know you were doing it. But sometimes I always feel our animals choose us. But how did I get Cachorro? Because Cachorro is very special, very, very special. This is how I got him. So I have this wonderful friend, Fred Bradley, who's a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous breeder and trainer of dogs, mostly field spaniels, but you know, others as well. And he's well, first of all, he's an amazing person. He is talk about the dog whisperer. Wow, he just, you know, he's just amazing. You know, from time to time he breeds his puppies, and I was away this particular time. I'd left two of my puppies with him, two of my dogs with him, and I'd gone to England, and I came back, and as I got out of the car to come and pick up my two puppies, he said to me, "Hey, Rosemary, I've got a puppy for you." And I laughed, because he's always making fun. He's got a great sense of humour. I laughed and I said, "Yeah, thanks, Fred. Thanks, but no thanks." He said, no, really. No, this is really serious. I have this puppy for you. And then he told me the story. When he has puppies, when he has a litter, his wife does all the care, the health care and so on of all the puppies. But Fred, he'll go in maybe twice a day. He'll sit quietly in a corner and he'll just watch the puppies interacting. He watches them interacting with each other. He watches them interacting with their mother, and he sort of can assess which one is going to be a good dog, which is not such a good dog, so on and so forth. Anyway, with this particular litter, there were 4 puppies, and he was watching them all. And there was one puppy, he told me, that was sort of seen to, he would feed and then he would just go away from the others and just settle by himself. And so this particular morning he was looking at this puppy, and he was watching it, and all of a sudden he heard a voice. Now Fred will tell you he's not psychic, but he is very sensitive, and he heard a voice, and the voice said, "Rosemary's dog." And of course he did what everybody would do. He ignored it completely, because why would you take any notice? And why, well, you know, what does it mean anyway? And so the next time he went in, he's watching them all, and the same thing happened. This particular puppy went and stayed on the side, away from all the mother and the other puppies, and didn't join in with the stuff that was going on. Fred's sitting there, and he hears the voice again. Rosemary's. That's Rosemary's puppy. So again he ignores it, and then the third time, of course, and you've always got to pay attention. A third time, you always have to pay attention to the 3-time rule. And he went in, And he heard the voice again say, Rosemary's puppy. And he sort of, you know, tried to brush it off. And the voice came louder. Fred, Rosemary's puppy. That's Rosemary's puppy. And he's still trying to ignore it because this is his business. This is his livelihood. He sells these puppies, right? He makes a lot of money. That's how he makes his money and pays his bills. And then the third and final time, and somebody really yelled really loudly in his ear and said to him, that's Rosemary's puppy. So, okay, so he told me this story, but I still was not ready to give it up because I've got 2 dogs. Thank you. I don't want any more. I'm good, really good. Thanks. So I said, well, nice story, Fred, but, you know, no, thank you. So as I'm getting in the car to drive away, leaving the puppy behind, he says to me, well, you know, I'll just keep him for you for when you're ready. Well, I'm driving home. It's a good 2.5 hours drive to get home. I'm very happy. I've got my puppies. I'm good to go. And as we're driving home, I start to think about this little puppy that I've left behind. What if Fred sells him to somebody? What if he doesn't have a good owner? What if somebody else doesn't understand what a sensitive little puppy this is? On and on it goes into my head, and it eats away and eats away. But I determined, no, I don't want another puppy. No, no, no. And the next morning, having spent all night worrying that this puppy is not going to have a good home, worrying that it's going to go to the wrong place, worrying that if it really is my dog, I really need to do something. So early the next morning, I call and I speak to Fred's wife, Alex, and I'd say, yeah, hi, Alex, and, you know, how's the puppy doing? And she started to laugh. And I said, fine, I give in, I accept, I know that he's mine. And I drove right back down there and picked him up, and he's been mine ever since. He was given to me, one of the reasons I didn't want another dog was he's given to me at a time when some very bad stuff was happening to me. My assistant had stolen lots of money. We were going through a court case. It was not a good time at all. And another puppy, really another puppy. But yet somehow Grey Eagle and the spirit world understood I needed a healer dog. And not for anybody else. I needed a healer dog for me. And that's exactly what I got. And this little puppy brought such joy and such healing into our home. And he really was, along with Nino, he really was that, the 2 of them, those puppies that really, really did get me through and give me strength to fight to live another day. And that, everyone, is the end of this story. We'd love to have your comments. If you have a puppy and you wonder, is this puppy a healer dog? Or maybe does this puppy need some healing? Because sometimes we are sent a healer dog. Sometimes we are sent our animals. I shouldn't say just dogs. You know, I know people have dogs and cats. And I don't really do snakes so well, but I know that people have their affections and so on, and some of you have parrots who you love. My mother had a parrot that was a dreadful thing anyway, but you all have your own thoughts and feelings on your animals and how you treat them, and some of them are sent to us because they need us, they need healing, they need nurturing, they need caring, and some of them are sent to us because we are the ones who need healing, and so that way we do get a healer dog or a healer cat or something like that. I just thought you'd like that story. What do you think, Chris?
Well, being there for the experience and hearing about it as it progressed, you know, witnessing miracles, not everyone gets to do that, do we?
No, it's true. So, okay, we began with Once Upon a Time, as all good stories must begin, and as you know, as all good stories must end, the end. And now, over to Chris. We're going to take questions, and we're going to try and answer. We'd love to have your comments on our story time. let me just say, please, if we don't get to you, it's not our fault. We're having issues with and I can see so many people are sending in questions and so on. Chris is actually looking on 2 Facebook pages and YouTube, right?
And
and what we're doing, and restream. So she's got eyes. She's got to have eyes in the back of her head almost. But it's the only way that we can actually see all of the questions that are coming in, because there's a glitch in the way that this works, so that we can't always scroll up and down. So if we miss your question, please do not take it personally, please. But you can always email me, rosemary@rosemaryyaltea.com. Chris, over to you.
Well, all your friends, of course, come on with lots of love and hellos and good mornings. A few of them really like you in your red shirt. They think you look wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I try my best. And also, you can see, where is the picture behind me, is it's got some red in it. You can see I'm also not in my usual place. I'm in New York City, everybody.
And then others are saying they have goosebumps from your stories.
I know. And isn't it nice that, Chris, that I've told a story that you can relate to, because you were there, so you're able to tell people, yeah, I actually was there and I saw that and saw the results of that. And I think, it's so wonderful when people do get an opportunity to come and see me live, whether it's in a theatre or in a small room somewhere, or, in a TV studio audience. I think that once you've seen something like this going on live, it's you have those wow moments, don't you, Chris? Don't you think?
Absolutely.
So, do your stuff, my darling.
Okay. Cheryl comes on. She says, well, this is interesting to me because my sister has breast cancer. She just had a scan and it has shrunk. And she got home to have her little cat sit on her lap right away. But it makes me wonder, do the pets absorb the sickness and can it make them sick?
No. It's not that way at all. Having said that, if you are giving healing, or you do healing and you don't know how to replenish your energy, then it can deplete your energy. So with my students, I always explain to them how they can, first and foremost, you've got to be selfish with your own self. Give energy to you, build your energy, and then you can share it with others. But animals seem to just know how to do it. And no, they're not actually absorbing anything. What they're doing is they're giving out. But I love that story, Cheryl, really. Let us know how your sister does, would you please? And I don't know if you've put her on our healing list, but please do that. Email us, rosemary@rosemaryyaltea.com. In the subject line, put healing, and then explain, you like healing for your sister. You don't have to give us all the information if you don't want to. You don't even have to give us a real name if you don't want to. But we'll put her on a healing list and we'll send her healing. And how nice that the tumour is slowly being reduced. And obviously that little kitty cat might have something to do with it. It's interesting because what you'll find, and Cheryl, what you saw with your sister, is that animals they literally just go to the right place. When Cachorro put his hand on my patient's breast, it wasn't the wrong breast, first of all. It could have been it. He could have done it to the wrong breast. Not only was it not the wrong breast, it was in the exact spot that the tumour was. How phenomenal is that? Our animals know so much more than we do. Yes.
So Aislinn says, Rosemary, we are considering taking a challenged puppy that seems to have been traumatized.
Oh.
He gets aggressive and can't take affection. Milo is his name. Can I help him? Am I meant to adopt him?
Oh, I need to know how old he is. If he's a young puppy, and you actually need to sit with someone who knows about animals, who would help you to deal with him. But if you have children, young children, it's not a good idea. you can't trust aggressive animals, cats, dogs, lizards, whatever they are. We don't put our children in harm's way with animals who tend to be aggressive. So you must be really, really careful and be thoughtful about this. I had such a dog. She was, if you like, a rescue dog. She'd been beaten. She'd been malnourished in some way. My lovely Rosie. She'd been used as a hunting dog. She was Brittany, but whoever was trying to train her, they were trying to train her with one of those shock, those belts that you put on dogs. You're supposed to put it around the collar and then you give it a shock, and it's to be, give it a command and a shock, and they quickly learn that when you give the command, they better pay attention. Some, let's say, misguided young man had this puppy, and he was putting the shock collar around her hips, and in fact seriously damaged the nerve of one of her hips, in the nerves in one of her hips. So she had this sort of it was only slight. If you didn't know it was there, you probably wouldn't have seen it, but she had this slight dragging motion when she was walking, but she could run. She didn't stop her. She was amazing. But it took me a very long time. It was well over a year before I would say, she trusted me. She never ever went to anybody else. She was aggressive when people came to the house. You really have to be so careful. And actually, we're talking about healer dogs. My puppy Nina, when Rosie, this Brittany, was, we'd had her for about a couple of years, I decided that she was lonely and that she needed her own baby. So I actually got Nino, who was then a teeny tiny puppy, and we were taking a bit of a risk because she would seriously attack any dogs in the area, and I mean big, small, whatever they were, serious attacks. I'm going to ignore that phone. I forgot to take it off the thing this morning. Sorry. And so it was Christmas Eve. We came home. We put the puppy on the floor. He was just a tiny little thing. He was only 8 weeks old. We laid him on the floor and we stood back and let Rosie sniff at him and put her nose up to him. And he, of course, being a puppy, knew exactly what to do. He did the submissive, lay on my back, paws up in the air, totally submissive. And she decided that, wow, where did this little puppy come from? And she was his mother then, and he was her puppy. And it was interesting to watch, because even when he was a puppy, he would get her bad leg in his teeth, and he would nibble all the way down her leg. And she would stretch her leg out, and he would nibble all the way down it to give her some relief. So he was her healer dog. Amazing, really, isn't it, what animals will do? So be careful what you're doing. I would say, unless you really know what you're doing, just be really careful. There are lots of puppies out there who need homes and who need tending and loving and caring. I'm tempted to say leave those who have more serious problems to somebody who perhaps knows a little bit better. Chris.
RT says, good morning. Looking to move to another area. Advised by my guides. Been looking. Can you advise a healthy area energetically for me?
I don't even know what country you're in, my darling, so I can't help you, can I? Just what feels right. Go with what feels right. Go with a place where you can breathe, where you can be peaceful. I'm actually seeing some sort of mountainous areas, not huge mountains, but I mean, if you were in the States, I would say, there's so many places that are wonderful. Vermont's wonderful, but I would sort of go to a mountainous area, or even a place where there's water by the sea or something, because I think you need a lot of peace and a lot of tranquility in your life. Yes, Chris, next one.
RT says they're in Ireland.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Don't move from Ireland. What are you doing? Stay where you are. West Coast is the best. Okay, Chris.
All right. And Aislinn said that the dog is not quite 1 year old, and she has no children.
Well, then you got a puppy. Yes, you can perhaps do something with this puppy, but don't let the puppy decide your moves. You decide the moves and insist that the puppy, when you say it doesn't like to be loved, it doesn't like to be cuddled, well, look, I had a little puppy who was sort of lost and alone and given to me, and I went away and came back, and he was the stinkiest, smelliest dog you've ever seen. I just put him in the sink. He was a she. Did she like it? Absolutely not. Did I make her have it? Absolutely. You've got to be very firm with your animals. You can't allow them to rule you. Dogs are pack animals. Please remember that. You can love them, you can cuddle them, but you've got to be in charge. So, maybe it's going to work out. But be firm, be gentle, be loving, but really be firm. And, any sort of aggressive behavior, you've got to cut it out straight away. Will I spoil my image if I tell you what I do with my dogs, the small dogs? The bridge of their nose is extremely sensitive, very, very sensitive. Also, so you can, get your hand and snap their nose, or, tap their nose. They don't like, I'm not talking about giving them a great big whack, by the way. I also find spray bottles of water brilliant. If you've got a yappy dog, you get your spray bottle. The dog is yapping. You say no, and at the same time you spray water in its face. That dog will stop yapping. And if it does start yapping, all you got to do is reach for the spray bottle, and they will quiet down. I'm tough on my dogs. I'm tough on my kids. What can I say to you? But I have so much love and affection from all of them, so it works for me. Yeah, Chris.
Carla says, last night my baby was very excited, like when he sees someone that he knows is smiling. And he kept looking, but nobody was there.
Oh, wow. Nobody you saw, Carla. Nobody you saw.
Yeah, she said, I wonder if he was seeing my dead father or someone else. I actually felt like someone was there in the bedroom with us.
Well, your father isn't dead. That's first. Let's get that out of the way. We don't believe in dead or death or dying. I know it's a way to describe what's going on, but your father, I'm sure, is still very much alive, and it sounds to me like he's watching over your little one. And I used to see the same thing with Samantha. Many of us, we catch our kids chuckling, or we catch them laughing, especially when they're tiny. Remember, they can see so much more than we can see. So how lovely for you. How lovely. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there, Right. Chris.
Annette says, as I listen to your story, Rosemary, different sides of the coin. One where you were given a gift, one where you said you didn't want, but was clearly a gift from Spirit. The other you were struggling with accepting, being stolen from. Both lessons in currency and being in the flow. When you gave in and accepted the gifts being given, it started to unwind. Dog spelled backwards is God. Blessing to you and Grey Eagle. You are looking wonderful.
Thank you. I always say that to people. Look, when people say, I don't believe in God, and I'll say, look, God is only dog spelled backwards. Doesn't matter, what name you give that belief, that faith, that, if you believe in that universal energy, but you don't necessarily believe in that man with a white beard sitting on a throne, whatever your belief is, again, I agree with you, my darling. Dog is only God spelled backwards, and boy, oh boy, do we get such brilliant, brilliant gifts from our animals. Thank you for that, my sweet. Yes, Chris.
Jenna says, we have a little Chihuahua. Her name is Leica. She became a member of the family for our daughter in a very dark period of her life. My feeling is that Leica is also a healing dog, Are my feelings right? Big kisses.
Well, a healer dog, not a healing dog, a healer dog or a healer cat, something very special. But yes, well, I got Gregor putting his hand on my shoulder, so I'm going to say absolutely, you're absolutely right. But you know anyway, don't you? Even if I'd said no, you would know that I was wrong. So apparently I'm saying yes to you, and how wonderful for you, and how wonderful for your daughter that she has this little puppy to help her. Nice, very nice. Chris.
Cheryl says, when I was badly burned 10 years ago, both my cats sat with me day after day, usually both on my chest. They were like little nurses.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we get some wonderful animal stories. I'm glad I told the story of Cachorro this morning, because I know that we all of us, or most of us anyway, can relate to it. I did have a lovely man say I think he emailed and said, Rosemary, I love you, and I love your stories, and I love what you do. I love everything about you, but you really don't need to have to talk about your animals all the time. I laughed. I'm thinking, I don't actually talk about them all the time, but I do mention them. And of course, if Cachorro was around, I would let you all know that he's here in the room with us. Some people don't quite get the animal thing, but that's okay too. We all of us have our place in life. We all of us have our beliefs, and we all of us have our way of working. Keep going, Chris.
Gianluca wants to know, do you know someone called Giorgio Cerchetti?
I don't. Sorry, but I don't. Keep going, Chris. I'm sorry, I'm saying keep going, Chris, and I don't mean to push you. And I know that she's juggling 4 different situations here. She's in 4 different channels trying to get to do for you what it is that you'd like us to do, because we know that you love to ask questions, and we love to answer them for you. Yes.
Ivy says, what a blessing to do this for all of us for free, Ivy. And give us all this knowledge.
Yes, all for free. What are we doing, Chris? Why are we doing this for free?
Oh.
It's just a way of giving back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ivy, though. Thank you for saying that.
Mona Brooks Pie says, hi, Rosemary, long time no see. You're looking well.
Hi, Mona. Where do I know you from? Help me out here. But anyway, does she have a question?
Not yet, anyway.
Okay, all right. Keep going.
I would love to. You're going to have to chat for a minute.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. What else do you want to know? Oh, how many puppies have I actually had? I had a cross-eyed King Charles Spaniel. His name was Karma. Oh, I have to tell you, it was the smelliest dog I've ever been. It's ever been my privilege to be around. He stank to high heaven. There was something wrong with his skin. He had some skin issues, and in the end, the only way that I could help him out, because I'm sure he didn't like the idea of his own smell, the only way that I could help him out was that I would keep his fur trimmed right down, and it had something to do with his glands and his, sweating and so on, and then that sweat would get into his hair, and on it went. Oof, it was awful. But I finally found the remedy. Any questions, Chris? How you doing?
Good. One of the Facebook pages, for some reason, is only showing me, it's telling me there's, 20-something comments, but only 5 are showing, so I'm trying to figure that one out.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. You know what? We do what we can, Chris. Don't worry too much about it. Okay.
So Ivy wants to know, why do people in the spirit world come out more in the evening?
Who told you that, Ivy? Not in my life, they don't, my darling. They're all around all day and all night. No. It's a fallacy. I think it's that, often people think that you've got to sort of, I think it's sort of from the old time of seances. The lights are low or even off. You've got to have, candlelight or something, dark room. Everything's got to be quiet, so on and so forth. Look, I'll go into a crowded, noisy restaurant, and they're all there. when I say they're all there, so many people in the spirit world are there with their families, and I don't necessarily even know who they are. They're with their families, they're with their friends, and you know, you don't actually need a quiet. In fact, uh, one of the best times I ever gave healing was in a really busy street in the center of Hong Kong, downtown Hong Kong, where all the Chinese are, and we went into this little hole in the wall restaurant. There were trucks, there were huge vehicles trying to get up and down this road. There was noise, there was honking. Aside from the people, there was the traffic going on. And I was with a friend of mine, a patient of mine, Chris, and we were looking for somewhere to give him some healing. And I said, well, what about here? Let's go in here and have a cup of tea. And, you know, and he looked at me, he said, here, isn't it a bit noisy? It was around, I'm going to say 2 in the afternoon or something, bright sunshine, and he said, it's a bit noisy in here. And I said, we can manage. And we did. And it was one of the best healing sessions I've ever given. It was wonderful. Chris.
Mark says, Rosemary, I'm holding in my hands the cremains of my beloved fur daughter, Gidget, a Shih Tzu. In this life, she would see spirit in my home because she would bark at me, look at them,
Yes.
follow them.
Yes.
Tell me, if possible, what she had seen. Does she return to visit me and gauge my fur son?
Look, you know, why are you asking me this, Mark? You already know that she comes to visit with you, and how wonderful. Yeah, the dog that I was just talking about, that really smelly dog, he was lovely. And I would have classes in my home, and all the students would be sitting there, and we'd be doing some sort of meditation or another, or they'd be waiting for something, and all of a sudden, Karma would, so that he'd suddenly sit up from lying down, he'd sit up, and his head would spin over to this corner and spin over to that corner. My students would be terrified because he was obviously looking at something or someone. So, Mark, how lovely for you that you had this. I'm sorry that you've lost her, but of course you know she visits you. And you also know that, you know, you give love and light to all of the creatures who are there with you. How lovely for you. Chris, keep going.
Sandy says,
hi, Sandy.
I was blessed with a beautiful rescue healing dog.
Oh.
She has passed now, and I'm hoping she will send another dog that will need me as much as I need them. Does it work that way? Did my energy healing work do anything to help her in her death days?
Without a doubt. You are a healer. And our animals respond to us. In my student classes, there comes a time when we give a lesson on healing, and we also always start with our pets. And if somebody doesn't have a pet, I tell them to go and borrow somebody else's pet. And it's amazing how healing works for our beloved pets, and I'm sure you absolutely know. And be patient. I'm told from Gregor to be patient because another one is coming. You will have I do believe, a healer dog, not a healing dog, a healer dog. That is, a healer dog or a healer cat is a healer in pet form. They are healers for us. And we in turn can give healing to them when they need it too. How fantastic for you. Go for it, Chris.
Serena says, hello, I love that sweet story.
Hi, Serena.
I had a healer cat that I was fostering, and he convinced me to keep him somehow.
Aha!
Now he is in kitty heaven. I have felt a little imbalance since he transitioned. Well,
I think that you perfectly well know that something else is coming to you, don't you? And your little kitten in the spirit world is going to help you to find just the right cat for you. Absolutely the right one for you. You know, I'm sure that this little puss is with you and comes to visit you often. You've obviously had a wonderful connection. Healer animals are just amazing. They really are amazing. Chris.
Holly says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Holly.
My mother-in-law, Viola, was a joy in our lives. Passed over early this year. I am about to post a pie baking contest invitation to all family and friends in her honor.
Oh.
She made the best apple pies. I wonder if she might have an idea or comment about that. It will be so much fun. I love her so much.
I've really got a comment for you. It's coming right from Grey Eagle via your mother-in-law here. Don't put too much cinnamon in. It'll completely ruin it. Am I supposed to say this as well? And the kind of apple is, it's all in the detail, you know. The kind of apple, sweet but not too sweet, and from raw is always the best. I'm assuming you know exactly what she means. As a baker myself, a cook, baker, whatever, I know exactly what's being said there. I'd love you to send your mother's recipe to me. Would you do that for me? I'd love that. Right. Chris.
Pat wants to know, does Grey Eagle see her moving to Arizona?
Well, Pat, I'm going to throw it right back at you. Do you see yourself moving to Arizona? Isn't the answer a big fat yes as soon as you can get everything together? Keep going, Chris.
Jetta says, thank you very much, Rosemary, and I will not forget the Pokey Pooty Pie. I will send you how to bake and ingredients, but I have no idea where to send it to. Big hug to you and Grey Eagle from the Netherlands.
Here's what I'm going to do for you all. Again, email me, Rosemary, at rosemaryaltea.com. Any questions? If you want to know about booking a consultation with me. And I know, look, we have lots of questions coming in. I know that there are many out there who've lost their children. They've lost their, you know, their beloved, not just the animals, but people. And if you are really searching, looking for a real connection, you might want to have a consultation. Now, you could have a consultation with me. I do consultations all over the world with people. Or you might want to find someone that you already know or that you have close by you. Please, please, please be careful when you do these sorts of things. Make sure that the person is real. Make sure that the information that they're giving to you is real. And if you're not happy, get your money back. I always tell my people, every time I give a consultation to someone, I'll say, if this is not successful, you have two choices. The first is that you can have a refund straight away with no issues whatsoever. Or the second is I'll keep going and keep trying for you for as long as it takes until we do get those people in the spirit world that you need to be in touch with. So be very, very careful of that. So if you want to know more about a consultation, if you want to know more about my guided meditations, healing meditations, if you want to know more about, oh my gosh, what, the webinars that we're going to be starting, hopefully in October. What else is there? Healing, if you want to know more about healing, or you'd like to be put on our healing list. Or if you'd like to know more about my books. What else is there, Chris? Can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
You covered it.
But anyway, whatever it is you want to know about, or if you want to send me a recipe, Rosemary, that's Rosemary, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. And you'll send your email to me, and eventually it will get to me. Please give us time, because we do have lots of emails. If you've not heard from us in a couple of weeks, keep emailing. Because if you've not heard from us, it means that we haven't received your email. And often these emails do go to trash, don't they? They go to whatever that is it's called. We don't necessarily always get them, but keep trying and trying to make sure that we do get your email, and you will receive a reply. Okay. Chris?
Mary would like to know, are there any messages for her from mom, dad, or grandparents, or Grey Eagle? Not actually at this moment in time, Mary, but thank you very much for asking. We are
I know that we're coming to time at some point very soon. We still have lots of questions to go through. So, Chris, can you keep?
I will. Cheryl's asking, can wild animals even be healers of some type? I have raccoons and foxes in the backyard that I feed. I do so enjoy their coming.
Oh, yes. Our animals, wherever they live, yes, they have an immense and an incredible and beautiful energy. And, they automatically give healing amongst their own. So, yes, we mustn't dismiss any of it. We are going to, one of the webinars that we're going to be doing which start in October, one of the webinars we're going to be doing is I'm going to be talking to you all, and we're going to be doing a few little exercises. I'm going to show you how you can find your own power animal and how you can find your own power symbol. That might be 2 classes, or it might be 1 class. We haven't made up our minds yet. But when we find our power animals, a power animal is not something that we have to have that gives us power. It actually reminds us of the power that we own. So, so that's coming soon. So again, if you want to be put on the mailing list, email me, Rosemary at rosemaryautair.com. But you must request that we put you on the mailing list, because if you don't request it, we won't do it. Once you're on the mailing list, you'll get all the information about all of the stuff that we're doing. Chris?
This might be a good time to remind people about the survey that you have up on your Facebook pages.
Right. We do have a survey that's up on the Facebook page, or both Facebook pages. The survey is really, we're asking all of you, and if you would love to help us, we'd love to have you help us. But the survey is all about, what subjects would you like to see us discussing on our webinars? And there are some suggestions there, but if you have further suggestions or other suggestions, we'd love to hear about them, because we are planning our sessions even as we speak, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Bright Star from Holland wants to know, did the Native American gray eagle have dogs?
Well, my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, is Native American, did live here on this earth a while ago. So I'm asking him, so they did not have a dog. They did not work in the same way that we did, but they had camp animals. So they would, they would be useful. They would use them perhaps for hunting, or they would use them for whatever they use them for. And depending on the tribe, depending on, I'm laughing. He says it's a fallacy. We did not eat dogs, just so you know. But he's very keen on, and he's going to be the one who's going to teach us and help us when we do discover our power animals.
Aislinn wants to know, my son-in-law and daughter are debating a cross-country move, but he's concerned about the job contract he's been offered. Are there any guidance?
Well, nothing's set in stone, is it? Somebody I know who is very close to me had a job, had a contract, everything was set. But part of the contract was that, he was on a probation, and unfortunately, he'd been a month or 6 weeks into the job when they cancelled his contract. Fortunately, he didn't have to move in order to do that. Nothing's set in stone. But if you would like to go to this place where they're offering, sometimes we just have to take a leap of faith, don't we? So, so it's up to you if you want to go there. I've forgotten where they said they were going off to. Cross country, I think it was, across the country. But sometimes if you want something badly enough, take a leap of faith. If that job doesn't work out, there will be others that come along. Chris, how are we doing for time here? I'm not sure here.
I think you're right at the hour, Rosemary, since we started a couple minutes late. I think right now I've got like 3 or 4 questions left.
Yeah, just keep going then. Let's just keep going, shall we?
Yes. So Mercy's saying, hello, Rosemary from Malaga in the south of Spain.
Hi, darling.
I have a lovely dog. Her name is Tulsi, but I can no longer look after her.
Oh.
Will I find a good home for her in the countryside? She's on her own with me in the town. Many thanks and all the best.
Oh, darling, I feel so, it's such a heartbreak, isn't it? But yes, you will find a lovely home for her. It'll just come out of the blue. Just put it out there to the universe, my darling, and I'm going to put it out there to the universe as well. Somebody will come and claim this puppy, and they'll be, they'll be perfect for her or him, whichever. Chris.
Judy says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi,
My mom
Judy.
is 91. She recently had a heart attack and had 2 stents and a pacemaker put in. While she is healing nicely, she is more forgetful and more agitated. We don't know how to help her. Do you have any suggestions? Thank you. I enjoy hearing your story time.
Thank you. All right. The one thing that you can do is put her down on our healing list, and we will send her healing. Just patience. Just be patient with her. Don't expect too much from her, because 91 is it's a ripe age to be having all of this surgery. There is, not that I'm suggesting that you should have done this, but there is something to be said for allowing the natural order of things. We're so afraid of losing our loved ones, aren't we? And so many of us are afraid of dying, and none of us wants to die anytime soon. But it's not so bad, Death is not a punishment. Death is a gift. And, the only thing is that those of us who are left behind are the ones who suffer. But be patient with her and nurture her, because you know perfectly well, she's 91 years old. I'm not telling you anything you don't really know. You're not going to have her for too much longer, are you? So be very, very patient with her.
Ollie's saying she laughed out loud about the cinnamon. Her recipe is the gift she left from my husband, Jim, which he cherishes. Much love, Rosemary.
Oh, you're welcome. Keep going.
Hi, Rosemary.
So, by the way, send me that recipe. Hey, I'm a cook. Send me recipes.
This is from Betta. Hi, Rosemary. I keep the ashes of my dog, Jack, who passed away 2 years ago, in my bedroom. Is his soul here with me?
Oh, no. He's, that's what he takes with him. He's having a fantastic time, but he does visit you often. You know this, darling, but you can't trap a soul to keep, because that means that this beautiful creature has no life, and we know that life continues on, but he is with you. But, oh, I know we want to be greedy, don't we? We want all of our puppies. If only I could have my Nino back. Oh, anyway, Chris, we're coming close to time, I know.
Yeah, I think this is the last one.
Okay.
So, Carla's saying, my mother-in-law is trying to get my husband's signature to get a new house for her. I told my husband that I'd rather keep renting than share, because I like to have our own privacy.
Yeah, and
I would like to know what's going to happen. Thank you.
You are right. Be really careful. Be really cautious, because it doesn't always end well, does it? So be very, very cautious and be very careful about what you're doing. I think you're right, and I think if you approach your husband in the right way, he'll see that you're right. That's it. So, okay. So, well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Chris. You've been wonderful again. I know it's been a bit of a challenge. I'd like to thank Grey Eagle also, and I would also especially like to thank all of you who have joined me today. We love having you. We love having your questions. We love having your comments, and I'm going to love having your recipes. Those of you who are going to send them to me. Rosemary at rosemaryaltair.com. We'll be here next Saturday at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we shall be telling another story. I should be telling another story. I'll give you another story, but we will also have lots of time for question time as well. I will also be around 11 a.m. on Thursday morning for The Spirit World Sees All, so pay attention. We are on YouTube. We're on two Facebook pages. We are on Twitter. We're all over the place, right, Chris? We don't know where we are.
Instagram.
What? Instagram, yeah. And so please, you know, check us out. If you want to know more about anything, or if you want to put your name down to be considered for our webinars, let us know. Again, Rosemary at rosemaryantair.com. In the meantime, thank you all of you. I hope to see you all next Saturday, or even next Thursday, when we shall be here doing our thing again. And in the meantime, have a very blessed and a wonderful rest of the day, and have a very, very blessed weekend, all of you. Remember, as Grey Eagle would say, our world needs gentleness. That means we need to be gentle with ourselves, and we need to give our gentleness out to everyone else. Bye, everybody.